Hello everyone, welcome to GGN. It's Friday, September 19th, 2014. I hope you guys are doing well. I'm over here still sucking air, as they say. The world's still turning. The sun's still coming up every day. The dollar's still green. And the bullshit still gets cycled through. Right? I'm not sure if I believe any of this stuff. In this day and age, like I mentioned in the beginning of last video, it's hard to believe what is true and what is not true. So it's all speculation. These beheadings, they show them for usually masses of people to engineer their consent. You guys know that that game. But there's something about this. It's just like everything else, whether it was the thing in London or wherever. I think it was somewhere in England, you know, the knife attack of the Nigerian immigrant. Video shows slaying a British aid worker, and this was probably beaten to death. It was an act of pure evil. So these are the people that are you know, we already said are probably pure evil. And you got to say, well, we're going to fight evil. So this is, they're trying to bring out the, you know, the epitome of evil. We're fighting these evil doers. Really rallying people who are very war weary. They don't want it. Like I've mentioned recently, that they're really getting ready for some kind of hot war, and it's scary because they're actually really, it's happening. It's happening. They're discussing possible troops on the ground in Iraq. I mean, I saw the general, whatever, Dempsey, talking about it. It's like, yeah, you know, we might do that. We're sending advisors there. We're carrying out our strikes and stuff. So they created this boogeyman, Al-Qaeda. Now there's this another genie out of the bottle known as ISIS, possibly Israeli secret intelligence services, possibly a bunch of people being led by Mossad and CIA to do their bidding for them, and the promise that they'll get their own Islamic State. I guess being naive, right? Again, they think that they can deal with the devil, like we mentioned a couple times in the first video. The people that see this news and write comments about it, if something must be done, is really what it is. That's how they're getting their consent engineered. Yeah, actually their consent is being injured, right? And they'll make comments that they're supposed to come to, right? The conclusions that they're supposed to come to are going to be laid out in this video, which is something must be done. We must fight this evil. But these same people, right? They're kind of naive too. Well, they're really naive because they think things are black and white. They think that these guys right here, they represent all of Islam, or I guess say Muslims in general, right? They don't. But they'll condone killing all Muslims in the name of this minority extremist group that is possibly funded with their tax dollars. It's just such a it's just such a scary realization that people haven't learned a damn thing, you know, as a whole, and that they're willing to just walk humanity into a nuclear holocaust or a world war or some crap. Never learning that they don't have any real individual decision-making power. Yeah. Apparently the first Iraq war, well, I guess you could say technically the second one, but the 2003 invasion, that wasn't enough for them. Afghanistan wasn't enough for them. They just finally got the troops out of Afghanistan. Supposedly, I think there's still like 25, 50,000, whatever, support troops there. They're just now leaving. The economy's just starting to go better. and they're ready to go again with this hot war. So didn't learn, so we're gonna have another lesson. See if we can learn again. Sydney beheading plot was a small-time TV actor, so you can't make this crap up. And Australia, I think it's ABC, the Australian Broadcasting Corporation. They said here, this is what they're putting out, disseminating to the Aussies out there. 22-year-old Sydney man was arrested in the nation's largest counterterrorism operation, allegedly conspired with Australia's most senior Islamist militant to launch a deadly attack on random passerbys. Apparently, they were saying that they're going to go and behead Australians on Australian territory. Police intercepted a phone call between this Azeri and Ali, whoever, who is alleged to have recruited half of the 60 Australians fighting in the Middle East. They're basically, I'd imagine, Arabs from the Middle East that live in Australia, and they're going back there to fight. The account said that Bareilly ordered him to carry out an attack which Sydney Central local court heard was clearly designed to shock, horror, and terrify the community. So here's the good part. Before it emerged this month that he had become a senior Islamic State militant, he worked as a bouncer in Sydney's King Cross nightclub, you know, because that's what these hardcore religious fanatics do. He also played a bit part in a TV series, Underbelly. Next up we have, not much of an article, but just I thought I'd throw it in there. Meet the smuggler who has brought more than 1,000 foreign fighters into Syria. So it is a nice big racket in a lot in England or the UK and in Europe, especially them. But also it's in the US too, believe it or not, in places like Kentucky and Tennessee and Minnesota, where the West has like these airstrikes that carry out these campaigns, bombing campaigns, and displace people. They become refugees, like in Syria. Then they say, oh, well, you know, this is a humanitarian thing. We're going to bring you guys all over here. Mind you, they already have a decent amount of people from the Middle East that have immigrated through their policies, immigration policies, so they bring more of them. And a lot of these people are already kind of resentful that, you know, they were bombed. I think because they're not stupid. They know that the U.S. is creating this. People also, I've read articles where among these refugees are actually terrorists and extremists, and they'll come over too, and it's actually the State Department, and they pay for them to come over and to have living quarters. I'm not joking, like food and clothes and stuff. And then they go back, right? And then you hear all this, you know, Americans going to jihad. Well, they're not really Americans, are they? They're people that have lived here for like 5 years, 10 years, even 15 years, and they hate this place, and they're going back to carry out war, right? Holy war and stuff. So, but this is part of the racket. Then, when they get there, they get further support. This is something that I covered, right? All of those terrorists that were, or just like jihadists, right? All those jihadists that came across the Turkish border and were being aided by the Turkish military. And the whole time Syria was trying to stop them coming from over the border, they just couldn't. Too much of a border to cover. The number stands at more than 1,000, he said, part of a pipeline that poured foreigners across the Turkish border into Syria for over 2 years. Many of them have joined the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria, ISIS, helping to make the group into a global threat. So there you go. They help literally create this threat. Yeah, you'll see crap like this too, coming, you know, from writers and stuff. Islamic State attracts female jihadis from the U.S. heartland. Ooh, you know, the female jihadis from you know, oh, see, Somalia. Oh, so there you go, right? Somalia in Minnesota, right? I mean, you were thinking about just your typical, you know, Midwestern housewife, right? Wrapping up in a garb and going to pick up a Kalashnikov. But no, it serves a couple different purposes. For one, that's how they can get all the federal laws to clamp down on Americans, American-born Americans that know their rights and stuff. Homeland Security, Patriot Act, all that stuff. We're patriots. So there was that, calling them Americans. And the other thing is to think, oh, see, there's jihadists in our homeland. 9/11. See, it's a real threat. So back to this article here. There's this video of this guy, a British hostage. I guess he was a journalist there, wearing an orange shirt and looks all calm, professionally made video. And he's basically saying that he's going to reveal the facts, like a 3-part video series. I didn't buy it because the guy seemed very, very calm, like too calm to be in the situation that he was. It kind of stunk, like this story over here. Bergdahl, mostly seen as traitor. Like the whole Taliban swap with a guy that basically said left his post or something. Didn't want to be a part of it. So they said, I think the firing squad is too good for him, said one person. So this guy was used for propaganda purposes. Just think, if you're a soldier and you don't want to fight anymore, I mean, obviously you want to stick with your comrades and that, or fellow Marines, but it's, in other words, it's saying that if they don't want any dissent in the military, and if you do, a firing squad wouldn't even be enough justice for you. So they're preparing people. They're going to be doing some real horrible things, more horrible than they probably did before in Iraq or Afghanistan. The other thing too, as far as the whole ISIS thing, I noticed when I was making a comment was that I seen all of these comments about how basically we're justified and have the moral high ground about going over to do something about this. And I'm like, well, no, blah, blah, blah. And I went in and I wrote this whole thing up, and I actually was going to make a video yesterday, and I'm just like, yeah, screw it, right? Just let people, let them carry this out and let them live out this whole thing. We're not going to stop it by calling it out. Just let it happen. That's the only way people are going to learn, I guess. So that's why I like to say I'm a kind of an observer. But the thing I noticed was that if you even try to dissect any of these issues, like in the ISIS one, you try to point out just basic things, you'll basically be seen as, well, you're siding with the terrorists. You're siding with people that behead people. You want to behead people? And it's like, well, no, I'm just questioning this whole narrative. You're just going along with it. So, again, it's very dangerous territory, dude. So if you question anything about this, the fact that it could be Mossad military, Israeli intelligence, basically, is ISIS. That the CIA and the U.S. Trained and funded terrorists, which they are now fighting, and then bring them home and then send them back to fight. You'll be told to shut up. Actually, that's the one comment that I got was, shut up, that's it, no rebuttal, no nothing. So kind of like with this Bergdahl story, the guy was wearing a beard and stuff. He says, after 2 disastrous wars, why is it that our governments appear to be so keen involved in yet another unwinnable conflict? So, see, you question it. Oh, now you're a terrorist, right? You're a Muslim terrorist. So this guy was captured, taken prisoner in Syria in November 2012. That's how long this thing's been going on. I think even longer. I'm going to show you the truth behind the systems and motivations of the Islamic State, and how the Western media, the very organization I used to work for, can twist and manipulate that truth for the public back home. So I'll show you the truth behind what happened when many European citizens were imprisoned and later released by the Islamic State, and how the British and American governments thought they could do it differently to every other European country. They negotiated with the Islamic State and got their people home, while the British and Americans were left behind. So is this more propaganda possibly coming from, Eastern factions, BRIC countries, Russia and them? Or is it coming straight from the headquarters in Tel Aviv? Who knows, right? We'll see. Thank you.